Good morning. Would we all please stand for the invocation provided by Commissioner Barr, and then we'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance.
May we bow in attitude of prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for the opportunity earlier this morning to meet with the school board and the administrative staff, and as they are preparing to readiness for 23,000 students in our community. Lord, they are very busy, very tiresome work, and very responsible. Watch over them, protect them in particular, guide them through these remaining days of preparation. May we honor and glorify and serve you in all that we do and say here today. We pray in thy name. Amen.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to call the August 7th, 2018 Washington County Board of County Commissioners meeting to order. With that, I'd like to ask for the approval of the July 17th, 2018 minutes.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? 5-0. Thank you. Commissioners' reports and comments. Let's just go ahead and start with Commissioner Myers. Commissioner Barr. Commissioner Klein. Commissioner Kiefer.
I'd just like to recognize a guest we have in the audience, Caden Snyder, in the red shirt in the center there, is a student at Williamsport High School. He has an interest in government. He's not here because he has a report to rate or community service hours to do. He's just here to learn about how we operate. So, welcome.
Anything else? Okay, for myself, I'd just like to say thank you to the many people that have reached out to me in my time of difficulty. It's unbelievable the outpouring of care and concern that I've heard from county employees, farmers, religious leaders, elected officials, in particular Delegate Parrott and Wyville. They both have reached out with love and care and concern. I'd also like to give a special thank you to Commissioner Leroy Myers, Commissioner Wayne Kiefer. They have checked on me frequently to make sure that I'm doing okay through my difficult period here in life. And the Bible says a real friend sticks with their friends in time of trouble. So all of the friends and people that have reached out to me, I just want to say thank you so much. It was also brought to my attention that an elected official or two were actually out celebrating. So I thought that was pretty not comfortable or not fair. Maybe they've never had any time of trouble in their life. And so I just wanted to reach out and say thank you. And also the news actually was being discussed in the community before a day and a half before it broke. So it was kind of interesting how that information got out there. So, but anyhow, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to all the people that have checked on me and reached out and were concerned about me. So thank you. They're my comments. Okay, any other commissioner comments? Okay, reports from county staff. We'll start with staff out in the chambers.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rich Eichenberger, Director of Construction. I'm here today on behalf of Planning Review and Permitting and myself to request that the Commissioners waive all the county permitting fees for the residents of the town of Clear Spring who had sustained damage during the flooding event that occurred on May 26th, which was approximately a week or so beyond the South County flooding. If you recall, this request would be similar to what was approved and granted by the board for South County residents, that the affected properties would have to be located within the town limits of Clear Spring. A 6-month time period for permit applications would apply. Permits would include waivers for building, trade, grading, and floodplain permits, and We would also verify construction of any new building or additions would be charged normal permitting fees unless verified flood-related damage for this particular event, which at this point we are unaware of. There's only been a few minor, I don't want to say minor issues, but there's been only a few properties been affected. We had a meeting recently with the town of Clear Spring officials, MDE, and multiple county officials as well. The town had indicated at that time they would be willing to waive their portion of the county permitting fees. And the town has also agreed to make application through MDE for the waterway permits that would be required, which would then relieve the residents of paying that fee. So I'm just here to ask if the commissioners would recommend to waive those fees at this time.
Motion?
You want consensus or a motion?
I would say it probably should be a vote.
Okay.
Mr. Slocum?
So Commissioner Barr made a motion to support. Commissioner Myers is seconded. So any further discussion?
I'd just like to thank Rich, Mr. Osherman, and Mark Stransky. I think we're the three employees, and I met with the town of Clear Spring last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, to talk about some of their flood damage. So I think it's appreciated by the citizens. There were just a handful of citizens it impacts, but it impacts them in a major way. So.
It's the right thing to do.
That's, Commissioner Kiefer, that's a good point, though. I mean, this is the second time in, what, 2 years that Clear Spring's been flooded? Is there some?
2014
okay.
was the last time.
Yeah, it does fly, but, I mean, is there consistencies or commonalities here that, you know, that this is happening more frequently, or it's something we should address?
Well, one of the points of discussion during that meeting was also looking at some mitigation projects possibly for the future through MDE, possibly the town. They need to really put a plan together, look at what would be most feasible. There were several options on the table, so I believe that is something that the town was going to start that process to take a look at, to see if there was any way that they could mitigate some of those problems with the run that comes down through town, through the rear of those properties, across Main Street or across Cumberland Street underneath, and then down past the fire department. So I think they've recognized the fact that because this has happened so frequently, that they probably really ought to be looking towards some mitigation plan. MDE had made several suggestions, and it could be a little bit longer term plan, but at least something to work towards.
Yeah. I just would rather not be sitting here.
I agree.
Even if it's another board of commissioners 4 years from now talking about, well, it happened again. So.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other staff in the chambers care to provide a report? Hello, how are you all this morning?
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Scott Hobbs, Director of Engineering. Andrew Eshelman is passing out a bid results from Garrett's Mill Road Bridge we want to share with you. And Jim Sterling, from Director of Public Works, is here. We want to provide an update for South County. First project being Chestnut Grove Road. The repair and culvert replacement was originally scheduled for mid-August, and due to excessive amounts of rain the last couple of weeks, over 8 inches of rain tallied down there. The project now is anticipated for opening August 31st. So there's been delay to the project. They're working the best they can with the amount of fill and excavation and backfill required for the project. It's taken a little while longer with these rains that we've
What
had.
was the original date?
Mid-August was the
the
original
date,
contract.
so it's going to be delayed approximately 2
About
weeks?
2 weeks. We're doing everything we can to have it open before school starts in September. I want to turn it over to Andrew for Sandy Hook Road. We want to give an update on that project.
Yes, we have an update on Sandy Hook Road. The National Park Service has issued a notice to proceed to the Asturian Group contractor to complete the debris removal phase of the work. They also have JMT Engineering on call to develop the slope stabilization plans. They're approaching it in 2 phases. One, to remove the debris that's there accumulated at the bottom of the slope, and then second, they're going to evaluate and based on the conditions, develop a permanent plan. So the contractor is responsible for preparing an erosion control plan, a safety plan, and a traffic control plan. So that's estimated to be 2 to 3 weeks before that's complete. So we're urging them, if at all possible, because we realize Chestnut Grove Road is as part of the detour route, to see if we can time those two to shorten that detour a little bit. But that's the latest as far as the scheduling and the phasing for that work to begin. At this time, we don't know how long the closure will be because they want to evaluate the condition and at that time make a determination on what they're going to do for repair. So we're going to try to urge them to condense the time that evaluation period would need to be so that they can develop a permanent plan and then move forward with the ultimate stabilization work. So we will keep you updated as we have more, but there will be a road closure on Sandy Hook Road, figure a couple weeks to a month from now to complete that work.
And then what you have in front of you, for efficiency and expedite the project, the Garrett's Mill Road Bridge, we're here before you requesting and recommending that the board award the Garrett's Mill Road Bridge replacement contract to the lowest responsible bidder, Building Systems, for $1,134,000. This is the design build contract that we've spoken about. We want to move forward to be able to start the design process through working with the contractor, and then construction and working to finish that project in the spring of next year. So the project was advertised on the Herald Mail, county's website, this email marketplace. It was competitively bid. Those are the 2 bids received. The engineer's estimate for the work was $1,250,000. As you're aware, the project received significant flooding damage, and the replacement is the most cost-effective and practical alternative for replacement of the project. This is part of our emergency flooding work. FEMA's been out to look at it with us, and this is the 75% FEMA contribution, 25% local. We've worked with Budget and Finance on emergency flooding projects, systems set up, and FEMA 008 has previously been set up for this project. Again, speaking with Budget and Finance, we've identified each project as its own individual project for tracking purposes, and this would be one of those. This is we have a 225 consecutive calendar day project on this, which leads us into the spring of next year. So with that, if there's any questions, again, we're just requesting for expediency if we can move forward with the bid award today.
75% of that cost will be picked up through FEMA?
Yes.
70, isn't it? Is it 70, 30, or is it 75?
75.
75.
And we've been reviewing, the FEMA representative is here working in the building next door. We've met with him once, spoke with him, and he's tracking these projects with us along with the prior meetings that we've had with MEMA and FEMA. So he's on board with the projects that we're working on. We shared with him the bids were just received this past Wednesday, and we'd like to move forward and proceed with the project.
Okay, a motion to move forward.
Moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? 5-0. I want to thank you and your staff for doing an awesome job keeping all these projects moving forward and getting them completed in a timely manner.
Sure. Oh, one other project we have for
If I was
South
your
County.
boss, I would reward you something.
Can I ask one question on that? As this is a design build, did you all have the conversation with the low bid, with them agreeing to the days?
Yes, and they provided a schedule,
Okay.
and they've already actually are working with their consultant to prepare all the documents for us, even to start the project as soon as we can. We're looking to put a notice to proceed tomorrow.
Yeah,
Notice to proceed, I think we talked about, we have to get the contract executed before that would occur. We were looking for the 13th, but in speaking with them, they were already going to start some survey work down there this week. So there'll be various activities going on, even potentially starting, this week. But they wouldn't get probably involved into the actual bridge construction work till mid-October is when their schedule shows that.
But that's what we're moving forward with, is to see some construction out there this year, move forward through the winter, and then in the spring to wrap up. The one other project we wanted to mention was Back Road. We've ran estimates for different options. There was damage to the culvert to the road down there. We're looking at moving forward with rebuilding the road with concrete, installing new culverts, and providing stream restoration work. This will go along with our project for MPDS, MS4 permit requirements and the credits we can receive to rebuild the stream restoration. So we're leveraging some of those funds in this project. Again, that would be a 75% FEMA reimbursed project. So we're looking to move forward on that. We'll have preliminary plans wrapped up here in the fall, moving forward to the end of the year to advertise and bid, and then next year spring construction with some of the stream restoration and culverts. But we want to move that forward, and that is our last big project that we need to move forward with. One update want to provide, that's all the South County, the update for Southern Boulevard. It's been reported. We have the road closure set up. It's approximately 30 days for Frederick Street, and that's for construction of the roundabout. And all the detours have been set up, the variable message signs are provided, and that project will be open prior to the start of school. So again, we do want to reiterate where we stand with that. It's a large undertaking to get that road in and approved, but we want to move forward with the roundabout, and that's the best way. Working with the residents to provide access in and out, coordinating with them on their schedules, and how we can get the driveway tie-in work, the sidewalk work, and the roundabout all completed, pulling that all together here. So if there's any questions on that also, we're here to answer those.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, South County crews have been busy cleaning up from the local store, this latest storm damage down there. So we're a little behind on getting things caught up. But the good news is the pipes are installed on Harpers Ferry Road at both Back and Lime Kiln, and they should be paved and smoothed up this week. Get rid of a lot of the potholes down there. So everything's moving along.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
How's Mr. Mason?
I'm good. Dave Mason, Deputy Director, Division of Environmental Management. Just wanted to give you a quick update on where we stand with the waste-to-energy facility. As you know, the loan was due on July 31st. I reached out a couple times this summer for updates. Nothing new was reported, but then County Attorney's Office did get phone messages from Mr. Whited on July 31st and August 1st. County Attorney did return those phone calls. They are ready to come in and talk with us about how to proceed, whether it's paying back the loan or, giving us plans or whatever. So I think we're just looking for some direction on how you want to proceed. If we should go ahead and meet with them and find out what their plans are and, where we move forward from here.
Commissioners, thoughts?
Just to follow up on that, as Dave said, I did receive a phone call from Mr. Whited from Green Kinetics. I did talk to him. He said he had some plans to hopefully resolve this from both sides. We talked about a potential meeting. We also talked about whether he could put something in writing to us, which and then I could present to the Board of County Commissioners as to where we go from here. We have not received that yet. We can follow up with him, and then I think staff can come back and provide you with whatever options there may be. At this point, I mean, there's several options we can look at, but I think a discussion with them, so we have a better idea about what they're thinking about, and then we'll get together with obviously Rob and staff and provide some recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners. So that would be my thought about how to proceed at this point, but agreed.
Without seeing any plans, my suggestion would be to go and try to retrieve the 250,000 back. But again, that's without seeing any plans. So if we meet and see what they have, that certainly could change as a recommendation from staff. However, probably best to go ahead and have that communication as soon as possible. So.
Right, and I would agree with that. And one thing I did mention to him that although I couldn't speak for the Board of County Commissioners, I believe the preference of the county would be to receive those funds in place of anything else. So I've communicated that to him. Again, I guess we'll see after we talk with him if it's okay with the board that we would sit down and have a discussion with Mr. Whitehead.
In person.
Yes. I mean, I talked to him on the phone for just a few minutes, but I would suggest that we have a meeting with him in person.
Yes.
And
Agreed.
then we'd have additional information to share with you at that time.
It's $250,000 of taxpayers' hard-earned money, and I think it's our responsibility to get that money back to the taxpayers. And if my recommendation would be meet in person and in a timely manner, not 4 or 5 months from now, in the next 5, 8 days. And
Okay.
I mean, that's me. I don't know what Commissioner Klein, do you have any other?
Yeah, that's a great plan. Move forward.
Commissioner Kiefer?
I agree, meet with this gentleman as soon as possible. To me, the only acceptable conclusion is we get $250,000 back. That's my opinion.
Mr. Myers, Bar?
Be with them. As soon as possible.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Danielle Weaver, Public Relations and Marketing.
And I'm Joshua O'Neill, Deputy Director of Information Technologies.
Welcome.
I just wanted to bring it to the attention of the board today that the IT department recently launched or opened a new learning center at 33 West Washington Street. And we're really excited about this. It's going to be for internal training use. And just recently, last week, I believe, FEMA was there and used the facility. And there's some pictures of FEMA using the facility or the learning center. And this is going to consist of 16 learning stations, and it's all running on Windows 10. And even the state's attorney's office, there's different groups that are interested in using this already.
Yeah. We designed the room to aid in the transition to Office 365, which is something the county is currently working through to aid in training employees in the new applications that are available and how they can be used in the performance of their duties. I also wanted to give a special shout out to David Elliott, a member of IT. He spent a lot of time putting this together, and he did the bulk of the work.
So this is pre-existing space, and it used to be that the space would be set up and then it would be knocked down, then it would be set back up again for training on an intermittent basis. And so with this new space here, with grant management upstairs, took full advantage of the space through staff's efforts, and you can see it's a pretty nice learning conducive environment now. So we're pretty proud of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Any other staff in the chambers care to provide a report to the commissioners? Okay, let's go around the circle here. County attorney issues. Administrative issue. For the commissioners?
Certainly, just a quick update for you, commissioners, that next week the Fire and Emergency Services plan study will be brought forward to you. It has been provided to the ESAC leadership, to the Volunteer Fire and Rescue leadership, to Chief Lohr in the city of Hagerstown, and it will be distributed in full to you first next week, and then to those groups as well. So it's a coordinated effort. those groups as well have had the opportunity to have input and feedback and comment to the consultant. So we've done our best to circle all the wagons and get various input on that. So it's a joint effort.
Thank you. Boards and commissions? Okay. Last chance for staff comments. Okay, moving to citizens' participation. We have any citizens here today care to participate? Yes, sir. How are you today?
Morning.
Good morning.
I have a comment for Commissioner.
What was your name, sir?
I'm sorry, Stephen Griffith. I have a comment for Commissioner Baker and then a question. I, along with many people I know, other Washington County citizens, were deeply shocked, disappointed, and saddened at the reading of the Herald Mail article published July 25th entitled "Wife Accuses Washington County Commissioner Terry Baker of Domestic Violence, a Temporary Protective Order Issued." I'm sure everyone in this room, myself included, are very concerned for your welfare and of course the welfare for your wife. My question is, as a result of the recent reporting describing incidents of verbal and physical abuse against your spouse, have you considered resigning from your position as Washington County Commissioner?
It's a personal matter, sir, and there's two sides to every story, and we're settling our differences through our attorneys. Thank you. Okay, any other citizens' participation? Okay, that ends citizens' participation. Moving right along to the Washington County Gaming Commission's annual report and fiscal year 2018 gaming fund allocation announcement.
Good morning. I have with me, beside me, I'm sorry, I'll introduce myself first. Susan Buchanan, Director, Office of Grant Management. And with me today is not Jim Nips, as is stated in the agenda. He unfortunately could not be here this morning. So we have Thomas Brooks McBurney sitting in, who is the Vice Chair of the Gaming Commission, who was able to come and join me this morning. Before I get started with the Washington County Gaming Commission's annual report and fiscal year 2018 gaming fund allocation announcement, I want to take a time to introduce all the gaming commissioners. I think we have several who have come in today. As stated previously, I have Thomas Brooks McBurney, who is here. He is the vice chair. He was appointed by the state senators. We have also, it appears, David Klein, who is here. He was appointed by this board, and Tony Aravanis, who is a delegation appointment to represent the club association. And I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anybody. Does not appear anyone else is in attendance, but let me give recognition to the other members. We have Shad Hamilton, who was appointed by the delegation to represent the restaurant and beverage industry. Brian Getz, who was appointed by this board. Curtis Graff, who was also appointed by this board. And that would round up the Gaming Commission. And I just want to take this moment to thank Mr. Nips for serving as chair. This was his final year before his term expires, and he did an excellent job.
Did he serve 2 terms?
Yes. And as I'm going forward with this report, I'm going to have Tina Wilson go ahead and pass out to everybody the anxiously anticipated list of awards for the Gaming Commission. As stated, the Washington County Gaming Commission wishes to present their annual report to the Board of County Commissioners, and we will also announce the fiscal year 2018 funding decisions. In fiscal year 2018, the Gaming Commission had available $1,976,373.76 for distribution to local charitable organizations and the Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association. This figure represents an increase in revenues over last year of $2,101.74, or 0.11% when compared to the previous fiscal year. In accordance with state statute, 50% of the funding received is allocated to the Washington County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association, and the remaining has been allocated to charitable organizations within the county through an application process. Before I go further, I want to give Mr. McBurney a chance to make a couple comments.
Yes, well, I think I speak for the commission in saying we wish we had more funds to be able to distribute. The other things I'd like to say are that while the participation has changed over my tenure, this was my third cycle, the meetings and the group of people to work with has been uniformly excellent. And that extends, of course, to the staff, because we would be significantly handicapped if it weren't for the good work of the staff. So, my personal experience is it's been a significant education. And as I said, we wish we had more funds, but it's been a very good group to work with. And I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Moving forward, I just wanted to give an overview of what was done this past year. In May of 2018, the Gaming Commission received 100 funding applications from 86 charitable organizations. The total amount of funding requested within those 100 applications was $1,975,857.33. The available funding for the charitable organizations is $988,186.88, because that's 50% of the total gaming revenue. I want to make sure you're aware of that. The applications were reviewed and considered by each commissioner, and after review, group deliberations, and public hearings, the Gaming Commission determined appropriate funding allocations based on the published and approved guidelines for distribution of gaming funds, which is consistent with state statute governing the distribution of such funds. I want to give thanks to the delegation and this board for the support of the local charitable gaming program. I also want to thank Laura Remy, who is the charitable gaming manager in my office, who oversees the functions of the charitable gaming program in this county and does an excellent job of maintaining compliance with all regulations statewide, which gives us the ability to do this each year. I also want to give thanks out to all the charities who put in their application and all the time that they put in and thought that goes into their applications, because it is a lengthy process for them to go in, and I appreciate their efforts in that fact. I want to mention also that if an organization's application does not get funded, it is not a negative implication upon that organization. You can see here we have way more in ask than what we have money to give out, and it just is an allocation based on the merits of that particular application and the opinion of the commission when they went over that application as far as the available funding to give out. And in closing, I just want to give a thank you again to all the commission members, to this board, and to remind everyone that no tax money is included in this. This is all money that is from voluntary participation in the gaming program.
What did you say the request total was?
The request total was $1,975,857.33. Any questions or comments, we'd be happy to.
Okay, thank you. And then when will this be coming back in for a vote?
There is no vote for this. This is just for informational purposes. We will be sending out awards.
Commissioners don't approve everything?
That's Community Organization Fund, which is
Gotcha.
extremely similar.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions, comments?
Are we allowed to see a column of what was requested versus
Yes,
what?
I can provide that information, a spreadsheet. We have a spreadsheet with all that I can send out to this board.
that Julie was going to come back in, I guess, to see if we were going to discuss anything else.
Tonight, right, that's what I thought. Yeah, I was just asking if there was something else we were doing, but
Yeah.
at night. I don't think so. There's nothing else on the agenda, right? Okay. Guess she just didn't want to make sure we're not sneaking something in or something.
So all I need is this for tonight. Correct? You're making it too easy on me. Some of this stuff, I'm ready to collecting this stuff back.
A lot of people are there. What are they doing?
Anyone not attending tonight?
I don't think I'm gonna be there. I'm going to two different National Night Outs.
Okay, back in open session. Nothing else to add. I don't have